Welcome to the Word for Life podcast, a daily devotional covering the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation.
In Genesis chapter 19, we see that two angels arrived at Sodom. When Lot saw them, just like Abraham, he also showed them exceptional hospitality. It says, Lot got up to meet them and bowed down with his face to the ground. That is exceptional hospitality. But the angels don't want to come to Lot's home. But Lot forces them to come to his house. And then he prepares a meal for them. That is Lot, who is similar to Abraham in his hospitality. But that night we see the depravity of the men of Sodom. It says, all the men, both young and old, came to Lot's door. And they asked for the two men who had come to Lot's house, that is the angels, and they want to have sex with them. Lot goes out, talks to them, and tries his best to stop them. But he is not able to control the men of Sodom. Those men would not go away. Finally, the angels strike the men of Sodom with blindness. Here, we can see the big contrast between Lot and the people of Sodom. Lot, on the one hand, is righteous and is afraid to commit sin. The people of Sodom, on the other hand, are blatant sinners and they want to commit sin even as a group. In short, in Sodom, there is no one who fears God. Friends, we as believers also want to live righteous lives like Lot. But the world we live in is going in the opposite direction, like Sodom. Many people in this world want to enjoy sin and also want us to agree with them and support them in their sin. They also get offended when we do not support their sinful lives. But like Lot, if we also take a strong stand, the angels of the Lord will help us in that situation. Friends, we need to hold on till the end. You may ask, what is that end? You see, the angels told Lot what will be the end. They told him, the end is we are going to destroy Sodom. Friends, that is the final solution for this sinful earth even today. Jesus Christ is going to come back one day and end all evil and sinners. But till that end comes, we need to stand strong. Like Lot, we need to stand for righteousness. We should not give in to pressure from others. Jesus is coming back to judge this world. But this chapter 19 also tells us how, even after the angels informed Lot about the judgment on Sodom, some people and even Lot himself did not take it seriously. They were not serious about escaping the judgment that was about to fall on Sodom. For example, when Lot went and told his sons in law about the judgment on Sodom, they thought he was joking. And surprisingly, even Lot hesitated to leave Sodom. The angels finally had to force him and his family to leave. Verse 16 says, when Lot hesitated, the men grasped his hand and the hands of his wife and of his two daughters and led them safely out of the city, for the Lord was merciful to them. And after Job left Sodom, he tells the angels that he will not go to the mountains. You see, Lot and his family were not worthy of being rescued. But even though they were not completely worthy of God's salvation, because God is faithful, he rescued Lot. Verse 29 says, so when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham and he brought Lot out of the catastrophe that overthrew the cities where Lot had lived. Today also, many people in our world do not care about the coming judgment on this world. They think with technological advancement, life is only going to get better and comfortable. Friends, Our Lord Jesus often warned us about the coming judgment through various parables and his preaching. Anyway, Lot and his family were finally rescued by the angels. But his wife looked back and became a pillar of salt. Maybe she was from Sodom, and so she did not want to leave her people. You see, the angels had saved her from the destruction of Sodom, but she looked back at that city. Sometimes Christian believers look back at sin after they get saved. With Lot's wife, the problem was her old life was so attractive to her that she looked back. Friends, Jesus told us not to look back, but to continue following him. And in chapter 19, we finally read about the daughters of Lot. You see, they were rescued by God from Sodom, but they, in order to have children, make their father drink wine and get pregnant through their own father. Sometimes Christian believers who are saved so miraculously by God do not live a transformed holy life. Just like the daughters of Lot, they also give into cultural expectations and social pressures. Friends, we are all saved believers. Let us be careful with the salvation that God has given us. We can be careful not to be attracted to our own past sinful lives. We can be careful not to follow the ways of this world.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow for the next episode of the Word for Life podcast.